up with everything, but to actually see a bunch of coffins and Boris and Boris or Donald Trump, oh my God, it's, having said that, I've been very disciplined because I'm a Virgo and I'm totally anal. I don't watch television till the evening, and then I binge watch series. So I either go from the very bleak Nordic noirs to The Good Place or Schitt's Creek, which I loved.
Oh, Schitt's Creek's fabulous.
Yeah. So that's it. And I have two, as I say, I have two rescue Jack Russells, and I can walk them. I have a piece of enclosed felt quite near me. That sounds Irish, but it's totally walled. It belongs to the school next to me. So I can go and walk the dogs, but it's a bit tough because it's quite bumpy felt. So I'm picking my way gingerly through the felts and looking for the first wildflowers. But I mean, the felt, let me tell you, it's about the size of a football field and a half, but it's totally wild and overgrown. And I always look for wildflowers and birds. And yesterday we discovered, my dogs and I, a small dome-like structure woven. It's I think it must be field mice, but beautifully about calf high, woven, and grass and bits of fluff and whatever, not a bird because terrestrial birds don't nest like that. So and my one Jack Russell got in there and had quite a performance, but it's all intact this morning. So that's how I do lots of Zoom meetings with my very good friends. I have telephone conversations and try and cheer up the energy vampires, because we've all got energy vampires in our life. You know, the ones, I mean, and I have to say this, and if you quote me, I'll deny it totally. But my eldest daughter, we call her the bluebird of happiness, because if you say to her, oh, it's a lovely sunny day today. Yes, but the cold weather's coming. Oh, it doesn't matter what you say, there'll always be. So, and you know, we all know people, and we accept it. And she knows we call her the bluebird of happiness, but there you go. So what's everybody else doing? Brooke sisters, Brooke, Driss and Shah, what are you doing? Oh, can't hear you.
We're very busy, you know, doing a lot of Zooming too.
Yeah.
And being up and down to Mariko quite a lot. So I think you have to tell them the story about the monkeys.
Okay. That's the story. I have a little dental plate here at the side with 3 teeth on, and they're absolutely fated, or I don't know what the word is, or blessed, because 3 years ago I was at Samara in the Eastern Cape, the lovely, lovely game reserve where you can walk with cheetahs and whatever, and I was doing a story, and I left my bathroom window open in the afternoon, came back, and I'd taken up my little dental plate and put it on the sink. No sign of the dental plate. So finally realized the monkeys must have taken it. Go outside, can you believe it? There it was, unscathed. Last year I was staying with Shah and Driss and Q at their lovely holiday farm place in Mariko. I can't believe it. How stupid can you be? Even though it was winter, I had the window open, and again I was having my afternoon nap, and I popped my little dental plate beside my bed, woke up, hadn't heard a sound, no teeth, no dental plate. Go outside, the pesky monkeys have taken it, but there it is, totally unscathed again. So this this has really got a history of being handled by all kinds of vervet monkeys. And you've got lots of monkeys there in Mariko.
Yes, yes.
And tell us about the farm. Tell everybody about, because it's so gorgeous there.
The farm, Kate, I turned 60 in June, so I had to have some sort of celebration, and we managed to get permits to go up, and we had about 8 or 11 people, I can't remember, but it was the best thing because we all felt so free, number one, and just to be able to actually see each other, you know, was something, you know, live. We social distanced a little bit, but we didn't have masks on, but we all knew that we were safe because we had all quarantined and isolated ourselves and whatever. So it was a safe group. So we were really so amazingly, you know, sort of protected in that sense.
And how many bottles of whiskey did you get through?
Quite a bit.
And it was wonderful. 30 seconds, because when I came, we had wonderful games of 30 seconds.
We didn't play any games because it was just so beautiful. Around the fire. And then, you know, walks and things like that was just amazing. So yes, we're looking forward to seeing you again on the farm.
So this is, let me explain to those who don't know, it's kind of an old farmhouse with lots of bedrooms and a little attached rondavo with all mod cons, which I've been lucky enough to have when I go there. And it's about 2.5 hours from Johannesburg on the way past Sun City, Mariko. And it is so beautiful there and isolated. And the river, the actual Mariko, runs there, and there's a waterfall, and it's like having your own little slice of heaven. Really. I've been there, and the sisters, my wonderful hang on, I've got a nasty oh no, okay, a nasty message coming up. How long have you had that? You have so many weekends a year where you can go with family and friends.
That's very nice.
So how many weekends do you have a year?
We have about 7 to 8 weekends a year. Hopefully it'll go up because we may drop the owners to 6 rather than 7. So we might have more weekends, which will be so nice. And having something 2.5 hours away from Johannesburg is like the best.
And I must tell you to Mandi and Marianne and Galaxy and everybody to go away with the sisters, Drist and Shah and Q. They are the best cooks in the world. I literally, other than cooking muffins today, God, they are the best cooks in the world. And there's a lovely little outside boma at the farm where you can sit under the stars and just
with the bonfire. And Kate, we might have the farm for the Mariko Herman Charles Bosman Festival next year.
Oh goodness!
You have to come.
Oh well, hopefully. Well, mind you, I don't know. There was a lovely. Normally, I don't go in for quotes and whatever, but the New York Times, they're always on their daily page, their online page. They have a kind of quote at the top, and they're not cheesy. They're not these awful things that you see on some of the sites. And 3 days ago, they had the most wonderful, wonderful quote: "The future is not what it used to be." Isn't that absolutely wonderful? And I think, you know, but I must tell you, my philosophy, and I know Mandi and some of you know this, my philosophy of life has always been, it's Buddhist, and I'm not a Buddhist, I'm not an anything, but it's, the past is gone, you learn from it, but it's gone. The future never comes. So carpe diem, seize the day and live in the day. But I must tell you, I'm so fed up with seizing the fucking day now. But I think one can't plan ahead. I don't know if you're all like me. You just live from day to day, and the days seem to fly by, which is the worrying thing.
You very much have to live in the moment right now.
Oh, Andres, you talk about birthdays. For those of you who don't know, I'm very lucky. I have 4 children and 9 grandchildren. They all live in Johannesburg, except that she's Irish. 2 of the grandchildren are teaching in Vietnam. So June, early July, we have a rush of birthdays. My oldest grandson my oldest grandson turned 31.
Wow.
I was a child bride. I want you to know I was a child bride. So the birthdays ranged from 30. We had 7 birthdays, and the birthdays range from top end, my youngest daughter, who was 46 or 7, I can't remember, right down the whole spectrum to Tara, my daughter Tara's youngest, who turned 9. I mean, and I think, but where did the years go? And everybody, you know, and I'm sure all of you, Mandi and Marianne and everybody, you have up and down days like me. Some days, usually mornings, because I'm a morning person, I feel really upbeat and good. And then 4 to 5 in the afternoon is my bad time. And then I can start, you know, sometimes I start feeling a bit down, but I'm very disciplined, and I wait till after 5:30 to have my first whiskey. I've also been very disciplined. I don't watch, now there's no sport, I don't watch any television in the day. Like when we finish chatting tonight, I'll start binge watching some stuff, but I don't watch in the day. Mind you, if there is cricket, if there is going to be cricket, I will probably watch.
Are you a
so
huge
what is everybody else do today? Mandi, you look very young and very, very wonderful. What do you do in your day?
I've got my beauty setting on right now.
Oh. But Mandi Jackson, what do you do?
I'm definitely not young, but thanks for the compliments.
Well, you look fabulous on the screen.
It's wonderful to hear, because I've literally gone grey during lockdown.
I did for the first time in my life, I coloured my own hair, and between us, we only had a pair of knitting scissors and a pair of nail scissors, but in fact, it looks better on screen than it does. So don't worry about going grey.
Sure. Yeah, that's happening. No, I do accounts for a music company, and lockdown's been rough.
Oh, so you're busy?
Swamped. I'm still working now.
Yeah. So. Are you working at home, or do you go into the office?
No, I'm at home. I'm choosing to stay at home so I can still see my mother during lockdown.
Yeah. That's do you enjoy being at home?
No, I'm very tired of it at the moment.
I find my daughter's company, my 2 youngest daughters have a communications company called Flow with about 50 odd people. And most of them they've just decided to become a properly remote business. But most of them, a lot of them are young, mainly women with families. They're loving it because they're seeing more of their families. They've got deadlines, they've got targets. So if they want to do them work from midnight till 6 in the morning, that's okay. But so many of them have said they've actually enjoyed being home with families. That's if you've got the luxury of having a family, of course, because I think it's 2 of my friends who are isolating very, very strictly it's tough. You know, it's tough, and that's what friends are for, because we can phone or Zoom and moan or talk about whatever. But it's tough. It's tough. And people are, you know, I know so many people who've lost jobs or are, and we're all struggling to make a penny, I think. And then I have to admit, I have to come clean. I do have a cheese book. Listen to me, I haven't even had a whiskey yet. I do have a Facebook cheesy list of 5 things I do to myself, or I say to myself before I go to sleep every night. And one is, what have you got to be grateful for? And I think we have so much to be grateful for. My friends in Cape Town at the moment, you know, they phone, they'd say, oh, the weather. And I say, but it's been glorious in Johannesburg. It's been glorious, and I'm very lucky. I have a stoop which is very, very protected. And I mean, I've been sitting out on my stoop doing my crossword in the middle of July. I mean, it's so we do. And I think, and again, while I'm doing the philosophical thing, I'm sorry, people, but I have to say this because I've said it to a couple of my friends. If you've got somebody in your family that you really hate, or a friend who's a real misery that you haven't talked to for ages, phone them. Send them a WhatsApp, get the moral high ground, even if they don't reply. Just say, thinking of you, how are you? How are you doing? Because I know how much it means to. I know how much it means to people. I've one very difficult, introverted friend who is battling terribly, but I try and send her, she won't talk on the phone or Zoom, but I WhatsApp her every 2 or 3 nights to say, how are you doing? And just to, it's so important, I think. But I've got to tell you a wonderful story. Driss and Shah might know this. One of my very good friends, it's a bit complicated, but not too complicated. She has a 20-something-year-old daughter who has a boyfriend, a partner now, really, who is a lovely guy, but he's a bit of a no-hoper. You know that? He's a really lovely guy. Did you ever watch Doc Martin?
I love Doc Martin.
Well, you know the son of the fat guy, the no-hoper guy. He's just like that. Anyway, my friend, this was last year now, my friend comes to see me one day and she's driving a brand new truck. And I said, but anyway, listen to the story. His name is Donovan, and he had an aunt. His aunts and uncles come from a very big Irish family, all of whom have emigrated to South Africa donkey's years, generations ago. But there's the one mad aunt called Auntie Anne, who they all dislike, and she's a difficult case. I've never met her. But Donovan, her great nephew, he's always felt sorry for her, and he's kept in touch with her. And if she's asked him odd things, he's tried to do it. So the middle of last year, Donovan gets a phone call from Mad Auntie Anne. I've got to go to Sandton. Will you come to Sandton with me? This is a true story. This isn't fake news or anything. So he says, well, Auntie Anne, why are you going to Sandton? She said, well, I've had a call from the lottery people and they want me to go in to the offices. So he thinks, oh my God, bloody Auntie Anne. Anyway, he said, okay, I'll come with you. She won 34 million rand on the lottery.
Oh my God.
But the story gets even more complex. So she bought Donovan a new truck. So that's why my friend had come in the new truck. Now nieces and nephews and Irish people she'd never heard of are coming out of the woodwork. Now they know Auntie Anne has won 34 million rand. The story has a terrible ending.
Oh, no.
Exactly 8 weeks after she won 34 million rand. She was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer and she died 6 weeks later.
Oh, who got money? So where'd the money go?
Who knows? And I don't know what people believe or don't believe, but I don't see how you cannot believe life is utterly random when you hear and my friend Wendy, I haven't seen her since lockdown because I'm in very strict lockdown, but you know, there it is. She's Donovan's auntie Anne won 34 million rand, died a couple of months later, having and okay, I said to him, well, how do you feel? He said, you know, it's got nothing to do with money. He said, I'm lucky enough to have got a new truck and I don't care, you know, because I'm sure all kinds of people are fighting over that money now. So I still do. I still buy my lottery tickets online. And I win the odd 20 rand here and there. But I think if you don't do it, well, and you know, I've never ever met anybody before who actually knew somebody who had won. So this is a genuine story, but such a sad ending. On the other hand, maybe there would have been the most dreadful family feuds and fights that perhaps she didn't live to see. So go and phone or send a WhatsApp to that mad Auntie Anne. You never know.
I want my nieces and nephews to think of me as their crazy old aunt. That's what I want.
Yeah.
When they
I
talk
don't
about
have any. I'm the crazy old one. The crazy old one in the family. But you know what? I think if and when this is all over, I think people will, and the world will never be the same. But, and I don't think I need to preach this to any of you, live for the moment, live for the moment, don't put off anything that you can possibly do. And I mean, I've lived my life, that's why I have no money, but I've lived my life doing that, trying to, you know, if I've ever had any money, if I've done a book or something, I've taken the family on a trip or done something, and I do have a roof over my head, and I'm not quite starving, not far off it with the underfloor heating, but what the hell. Yeah. So Marianne, tell us about you, what you're doing.
I'm doing mostly what you're doing, I think.
Mopping floors.
Yeah. I'm fortunate I live in Irene, so
yes.
We walk to Irene Farm usually.
Oh,
and
that's
it's quite
lovely.
Very nice outing. So I do that. I do some baking as well. I read a lot. And I enjoy the moment, it's true.
Yes.
The days are just lovely at the moment too. So.
I agree with you, and we are, you know, particularly Capetonians. And in fact, two of my best friends who both live in Cape Town say they would give for family reasons and whatever, they can't live in Johannesburg, but they so miss Johannesburg and their friends, and but also my one friend who's a retired doctor, Tristan Shano, she's in very, very strict isolation. Look, she lives on the waterfront. She's got a wonderful apartment, but she said the lack of discipline that goes on, that cafes, people are sitting having coffee, not wearing masks. You know, she's quite horrified by the whole thing. And I take my car for a run, so it doesn't die on me. So I take my car out for a run a couple of times a week. And you know, I'm not talking about people who can't social distance. If you live in a township, I mean, what chance have you? What chance have you got if you're taking taxis? You do your best, but I'm talking about privileged people who really could obey the rules if they wanted to. Having said that, like some hell and brimstone pasta. I have other friends who are coping by going shopping and going out. You know, there's not one size fits all at all. Going to hairdressers, going to, I don't have a choice because of my daughter and her two children. If I want to keep seeing them, and I'm the only safe place they can come to, they've been shut in their house for months. I don't have a choice. So I don't think, well, I do think I would love to go and get my hair done, but I know I can't. So I don't have the stress of thinking, do I go to Dischem or what about this? I don't have the choice. So it swings and roundabouts, you know, and everybody copes in different ways, I think. Trish, now you're the ultimate social animal. How are you coping?
Can't hear you. You need to unmute.
A break.
Oh, have I?
Sorry, I've unmuted. I haven't had a break. I'm actually working since lockdown. I've been working, and it's been awesome because I'm back in the NGO field.
I know.
Which, you know,
where your heart is always.
My happy place. I'm in my happy place, and being able to work from home. And then just recently, I've been going into the offices of both the organizations that I work with. So it's been absolutely amazing. And one of them is doing really well right now because they're concentrating on gender-based violence and violence against women and children and whatever. So that has taken off amazingly. The other one who deals with NGOs is not doing as well, but we're getting there. It's only 8 months old, whereas the other one has, you know, been there for a long time. So I've been very, very busy, and there's so much that's been happening. I think I'm blessed in that way that I always get involved in something, and I don't feel like I'm sitting there doing nothing. And so
I think too, Chris, and I'm sure we'd all agree with this. Okay, bad stuff has come out of this pandemic, but it's brought out so much good in people. It has really brought out the best in so many people. You know, you people who are making food parcels and doing everything in their own little way, sometimes bigger way. But I must just tell you, and this is, I won't give you the context, but I got it secondhand, but Robbie Brosen, you know, Nando's.
I know Robbie, yeah.
He was actually, and he wouldn't mind this, he was talking to the Flow staff, my daughter's company. Every week they try and get somebody in, or they dress up, or, you know, they try and keep spirits up. But Robbie Brosen was saying, he was chatting to them last week, and you know, he's your real Safa. He's the guy you meet at the pub. He's the most wonderful, I've interviewed him a couple of times. He's the most wonderful guy. And he was saying, the beginning of, when the hard lockdown came, he was sitting in his quite fancy home, and he realized he had to shut down 800 restaurants.
Wow.
Globally. He had to shut 800 restaurants down. And he sat there and he was looking at a picture he had on the wall, which he said was quite an expensive picture. And he thought, oh, well, I wonder what I could sell that for. And then he suddenly said, which is what Barack Obama said at his Mandela lecture last year, he suddenly thought, I've only got one pair of feet. I've only got one body. I've got a roof over my head. I actually don't need things. And I think we've all, you know, I think we've come to that realization. I stayed with this daughter of mine for 7 weeks. That was an eye-opener. 3 teenagers in the house, all doing online learning at different schools. An office with 3 people in the house, me. I learned to get up only at 8:30 when everybody was doing things, so I could find I could find my little space. But the point of my story is I went with like 3 changes of clothes, 2 or 3 pairs of shoes, and that is all you actually need. And I come home and I've got wardrobes full of clothes, and I think, what on earth do I need all this stuff for? And in fact, I have cleared out quite a lot and given it away. I have still more to clear out. But Barack Obama said exactly the same thing at his lecture at Wanderers last year. He was on the platform there with Cyril and Patrice Motsepe, arguably 2 of the richest men in Africa. And he actually, Barack Obama actually said, again, you know, I've only got 1 pair of feet. I can only wear 1 pair of shoes. I only need X, Y, and Z. So I think we have a lot to be grateful for. We have so much to be grateful for. But it was interesting to hear Robbie Brosen say that. And I know it's been very difficult for some people who've had to retrench and lay off staff. Luckily, it hasn't happened in our family yet, but it's a terrible thing to have to do. Terrible. I've got friends who are grieving. There's no other word for it, having had to do it. Anyway, there is light at the, and that was the other thing, Robbie Brosen. The other guy was Professor Mike Buckland, who's an advisor to the president. They were saying too that, you know, the doom mongers and the naysayers, oh, South Africa's going to go the way of Zimbabwe. They said, absolutely not. We are much too strong. There is a bad tunnel. There is a light at the end of it economically. It is a very, very faint light, but it is there. So don't lose hope. And to hear 2 knowledgeable, distinguished, successful people saying this, I think it's very heartening. Very, very heartening.
Are you talking about Robbie Brosen or Barack Obama?
No, this was Robbie Brosen and Professor Mike Buckland saying last week that don't listen to people saying we're going the way of Zimbabwe. That's rot. And I don't think they were bullshitting. I think that's, you know, South Africa is much too strong. And you look at, you know, I said to you earlier, I've got 2 grandchildren teaching in Vietnam. Vietnam, I think, touch wood, has probably the most successful control of the pandemic program in the world. They shut the borders in January. They closed the schools. They're back now in school. They've had 1 death and relatively few cases. They closed their borders with China. But here's the sting in the tail. They're a dictatorship and an autocracy. So they can immediately, like Wuhan, they can immediately impose draconian penalties on people. We live in a democracy, which is much harder. I think a democracy is much harder to manage. So it's swings and roundabouts, but my 2 grandchildren were saying the schools are back. They're both on school holiday at the moment, so they can't leave the country, and that really is the downside. Even if they wanted to come home, they couldn't. So they're traveling all around the country at the moment. And my granddaughter was saying, we had a Zoom meeting on Sunday. She was staying in this very fancy hotel in Hanoi. And she said, Granny, normally we wouldn't even have been able to have a drink there. But because of tourism and the lack of tourists, the offers they're getting of travel within the country, they're able to really travel inside, and Ho Chi Minh City, or Saigon as I still call it, there's a lot of South Africans teaching there, a lot of young, I'm talking about hundreds, and they all watch the rugby games together, and they watch Vietnamese soccer, and they have braais on their little tiny verandas in 38 degrees of heat, and they have a whole amazing community, because I think you can't beat South Africans for friendliness and getting together, really. So, as I said, the downside is, even if they could, they can't say, well, let's get on a plane and come home and see mum or dad or granny. And both of them are very lucky, because Tessa, my granddaughter, has her boyfriend with her of 4 years, and my grandson, who's 25, his girlfriend, who's also a teacher, is there. So they have got family, as it were. So, but everything is different. I still managed to remain positive, but I was born positive. My late husband used to say, the trouble with you, Kate, is you have no imagination, because you're not afraid of anything. But I did say to my son, who only lives 5 minutes away, and I just see him at a distance, I said, keep your phone on at night, just in case. Whether he'd pick it up or not, I don't know, but I used a bit of emotional blackmail. I'm very good at it.
Mothers are allowed to. I never turned my phone off. For many years my dad was ill, so I have never ever turned my phone off. It's on right through the night. If I actually can hear my mother, so I don't have to. I usually phone her and say, "Who are you shouting at?"
Yes, but you can't help it. You think these things, like you get a cough, and immediately, but especially if you're living on your own now, you're immediately thinking, oh my God, is it a dry, unproductive cough? Have I got a fever? You can't help it. Well, I think we've all become, I don't know, it's a bit of a sweeping statement, but then I always make sweeping statements. I think we've all become bits of hypochondriacs in a way. Never bothered me if I got a bit of a cough or if I felt hot or got the sniffles, but and I won't go on to Google Doctor, because I got a mystery virus early in the year, which never did get diagnosed. It wasn't COVID. So of course I went on Google Doctor, and I diagnosed myself with lupus and Parkinson's, and I diagnosed myself with every ailment in the book, and convinced my family too. So I try and keep off Dr. Google now. So what's it? Oh, we've got some new people joined us. I'm going to put on my pink, sorry people, I'm letting the side down. I'm wearing an orange top and I've got pink glasses, dolls. Who's just joined? Oh, Jen's joined us, and Denise. Hi, now tell us about you. Jen, what are you doing? Hi there.
Jen, you have to unmute, hang on.
I think you muted yourself. Unmute yourself. No.
Oh, right.
Thank you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, yeah, there we go.
Well, I'm retired like you are now, but I've been retired quite a long time. We still have a son who lives at home. Our other son lives in Cape Town, and he's opening a brewery.
Oh, good for her.
No, in this day and age. So he started 6 months ago, started a couple of years ago, but his stuff was, his brewery equipment is coming from China, and his bottling plant is coming from Italy. So you can imagine it's taken a lot longer than it should have done. But his brewing equipment is now in Cape Town Harbour, and his bottling plant is in the Canaries. So
that's wonderful. I don't know how anybody else has been, but I have one drink a night usually, not because I'm particularly well disciplined, but that's how I am. I'll have a whiskey. If I'm feeling a bit low, I have a medicinal brandy. I might have a glass of wine. But during that hard lockdown, I suddenly ran out of everything. So now there are people saying, who apparently know, I've got a couple of friends who sit on councils and things, they say a hard lockdown will be coming to Gauteng sooner or later, even if it's only for a while. I got into a panic. I ordered cases of wine from Take-A-Lot. I've got 4 bottles of whiskey in my pantry. I've got, and I thought, no, and I thought, my God, I sound like an alcoholic, but it's just, and you know, in fact, 2 of my daughters, I've 1 son and 3 daughters, 2 of my daughters smoke, alas. The one with the immune deficient children I can understand, because she runs a big company and she's got, you know, I'm not condoning it, but I can understand it helps her with pressure. But she ran out of cigarettes during the hard lockdown, went outside, there's a security, there's an old lady who lives opposite who has her own guard in a security hut outside. So my daughter Tiffany goes out, said to the guard, cigarettes. 4 minutes later, illegal cigarettes. And I mean, I do think the government is losing so much money.
Yeah, they're losing billions
over this. And I don't know if people are going to. One of my friends tried to give up and then came away with Driss and Shah to Mariko, and they all smoked. So that was the end of her whatever. But anyway, Jen, so you're surviving well. And Denise, tell us about you.
I'm a very busy lady. I make reborn dolls and I sew for them and I do knitting. So my day, as you say, Kate, the day just goes by so quickly.
I do knit. I knit black. I'm not weighing up. I am quite a good knitter. In the old days, I used to knit Aran and whatever. I've knitted about 6 blankets for 9 of the grandchildren. And I do another one, but the reborn dolls. Tell me about the reborn, as in hallelujah, or just getting reborn beautiful.
No, again. Would you like to see one?
Oh, we'd love to.
You can see one in the background, it's Ed.
I have my old Teddy, who got reborn a few years ago by a friend who is
Ivy Jane.
Years old. Oh, I've got to put on my, hold her nearer to the screen. Oh, my word.
And I make the little outfits as well.
Oh, my word. Denise, I thought that was a real baby.
No, and I'll show you one more.
Oh, my word. That is so beautiful. So how do you have the spare parts? Oh, look. Oh, it makes me broody. You have the spare parts for them, Denise?
Yes, it starts off like that.
Yeah.
And then you start painting it for layer by layer. It takes hours to do everything. And then you start putting the base coats on, and then you're putting the blushing and the creasing. So you've got it all.
Well, but they're so realistic.
And this is like the hand that you do.
Oh, and who do they go to, Denise?
People. This is little. She's quite cute.
She's beautiful. It's so realistic. When I looked at her up, I did a double take, actually.
Yeah, so I do a lot of sewing. So I make all the outfits. I'm busy with this one.
Oh, look at that. Oh, look at that.
So that's what I do. I just keep myself busy and knit, and yeah, just, you know, the day just goes by so quickly. Sometimes I just wonder where it goes.
Well, that's what I was saying. I make a list because I'm a Virgo, as I said, anal.
I'm also a Virgo.
I make a list for the next day. I don't think I've hardly ever got through it. As you say, the days seem to fly by. Mind you, I do get up a lot later than I used to. I mean,
so do I.
My dogs, I have two, where are they? They're lying on the floor. The dogs wake me up about 7:30, a little paw, they have their own cushion. And a little paw comes and, Mum, we need to go out for a wee. And I let them out for a wee and whoosh, they're back in again in seconds, and we all go back to bed till 8:30. I mean, what's the point of getting up early?
No, especially winter.
Exactly. And I've always been an early to bed person, but now I'm going to bed like 10:30. Heavens to Betsy, 11 o'clock at night, which is very out of character for me. But as I say, I'm watching television or reading or doing something. But anyway, we're all coping. So, Mandi, you.
Who else is there? There's Thea, there's Tertia, there's Chris and Lou, there's Claire.
Oh, my word.
Claire's coming to live with you because you've got alcohol.
Oh, okay. Okay, I want to hear, but everybody's managing and coping. And as I said, we all have down days. I definitely have it, afternoons, late afternoons. Sometimes I get a bit down. That's my, Marianne, do you have down days too? Marianne.
Yes, I do. I told a friend of mine today I'd like to go and just get lost on a small little island where I don't have to see anybody. I don't have to think about anything, who's stealing what, or where's our money going, or anything like that. I just want to enjoy it, go and sit in the sun, put my feet in the water and get away and stay there forever.
One of my medical friends was telling me, she taught me two terms. One is being emotionally labile. In other words, bursting into tears. So I will hear, that doesn't happen all that often, but I will hear a piece of music or something, and I suddenly find myself having a little weep. And the other one, they've only just sort of described in research. After, like now, we've had a Zoom meeting, or you've had a family Zoom meeting, and you get out of it, your spirits absolutely sink for a while. And I've done that. I had the family I can see came here on Saturday, and we had a lovely time. We chatted and whatever. And about an hour after they left, I felt absolutely bereft. There's no other word for it. And I was quite pleased when one of my medical friends told me, no, that's becoming quite a well-known syndrome now, because again you start thinking, oh my God, I'm suffering from depression, why am I not bursting into tears, but suddenly, just suddenly feeling very tearful over things. Does everybody, Jen, do you get like that? Oh, we can't hear you again. You're muted.
Thank you.
There you go.
Yeah, from time to time. I was watching a television program, a television series last night, and in it, it was very emotional, and somebody died, and I was in tears at the end, and I thought, gee, I'm such a romantic fool, honestly. But I think sometimes you need that for a release.
I do.
How you felt over these weeks when, I mean, I haven't been, apart from going to the butcher's, the veggie shop and Woolies, I haven't been anywhere since March the 20th.
Yeah.
And so my friends, who I normally see and the functions I normally go to. Haven't done anything. I've had a great release being able to sort of go out and do a lot of gardening, but you do need that occasional thing that comes along that just perhaps gives you an excuse to have a little.
And also it's great to know that so many of us have exactly the same experiences. You know, I thought, oh my, because I'm not normally a tier 4 person. I don't cry at movies or whatever, but it's good to know that other people, you know, feel the same. And as I say, everybody has different ways of coping as well. I don't know how I'd survive without my dogs. They're great. Mind you, they're both lying with tummies full, fast asleep. But while I was staying with my daughter for 7 weeks, one of my daughters is married to the head of St. David's, Marist Brothers, you know, diagonally opposite Santon City. So they live in this beautiful house on the school grounds, and they had 3 playing fields. So they took my dogs. My dogs were doing 5-kilometer runs every day. They came back so trim and slim, and they've been home with me 3 weeks now, and I can see they're beginning to bulge a little bit. But it's, as you say, you see something on television, or you hear a piece of music, or you talk to a friend on the phone or something, you suddenly feel quite tearful. So anyway, anything else? Because Mandi, I'm going to go now and have a very large whiskey.
Well, you enjoy that very much.
Would anybody else like to share anything? Denise, I think your dolls are wonderful, absolutely wonderful.
Thank you very much. It keeps me busy, keeps my mind active. And what I want to do, I've got 2 dolls here. What I do is I want to give 2 of them to homes with Alzheimer's. They use the dolls as babies.
And if anybody has a contact, I've got a whole bunch from when all the kids were little. I've got about 8 teddies upstairs. I've got a big loft room here, and I mean, I've got my own teddies and they've all got theirs, but somebody told me they would make the most wonderful gift for a retirement home or for people with Alzheimer's. So if you've got a contact, Denise, that I could give these to, they'd have to come and collect them. I couldn't.
Yes, no. Look, Kate, I'll get hold of you, because we do. The church that I belong to, they that's where these 2 dolls are going to go. But unfortunately, with the lockdown, we can't go anywhere.
Other stuff that I would. Maybe you can do it through Mandi or
yes, when the time's right.
Easy. My email is kate@kateturkington.com. kate@kateturkington.com. So, or Mandi will always do this. And I want to take my hat off to Mandi, because I think she is absolutely amazing the way she keeps these. Really, Mandi, and I said this to her, and I don't bullshit. I admire her so much for keeping all this stuff going, from getting people like Peter James to organizing stuff. Mandi, I think you're one of the wonders of the world, so keep it up.
Oh, thank you, Kate. Make me blush.
Okay, well, I'm going to, can I go off and have my whiskey now?
Go and have your whiskey. You earned it.
Okay. Well, lots of love, everybody, and keep safe. Please keep safe, and let's meet again.
We will be fabulous.
Mandi. Any time. Okay. Night.
Night all. Bye. See you tomorrow. Pangolins. Well, that was absolute fun. She's a character. I didn't have to say a word. I didn't have to do a thing. You just sit here with my overdressed hat, all ready for spring. She was supposed to wear her tiara. So tomorrow I've got Alexis Creel from Pangolin, the Pangolin Working Group, and that's at 5:30, I think. Please, I hope we have power, but if we haven't got power, we'll try and make plan B on the cell phone. But I will keep you guys posted. It's been fabulous. I just sat here. I didn't have to do a thing. Sharmini, you and your sister, Denise.
Jen, fantastic.
Yeah, well done, guys. It's fabulous.
Jen, your hair looks fabulous.
Jen, your hair looks fabulous.
Yeah.
Anyway, everyone, thank you so much. Have a wonderful evening. See you tomorrow. Love you madly. Bye.